Here's an example of an exponential equation. And I know it's an exponential equation because the variable is an exponent. That's the definition of an exponential equation. So let's mark that off. We need to make a table of values. So we'll set that up a couple of different ways. Let's write it down on paper first. So we have the equation y equals 1/2 raised to the power x. And we're asked to make a table of values for this. Given some x values, find y. And we have -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. So let's start with some easier numbers, and then we'll do some others. So 0 is pretty straightforward. What is 1/2 to the power 0? And hopefully you remember any non-zero number to the power 0 is always 1. And we'll double check that on a calculator in a minute. 1/2 to the power 1 is just the base itself, 1/2. 1/2 to the power 2, second power means multiply it by itself. 1/2 times 1/2 is 1/4. Now negative exponents, hopefully you remember that rule from the previous course, that if we take a base to a -1 power, that means flip the base. So this becomes 2/1 to the power 1. Now the power 1 doesn't change anything, so that's just 2/1, and 2 divided by 1 is more simply just 2. With this one up here, I have two things to do. I have to take the negative power, which is going to flip it, and I have to square it. So using the negative first, if I flip it, that becomes 2/1. And now I have the power 2. The negative part of the power is gone because I flipped it. And then squaring means multiplied by itself. So 2/1 is really 2. Squared means 2 times 2, which is 4. So I think these are the y values that go with each x value. So I'm going to double check on those on my calculator, and then I'm going to graph them over here and then try to do it on the computer. So for this class, you definitely want a scientific calculator and a couple options. Google is a calculator. If you search for 2 + 2, it brings up this nice calculator screen. And so I want to test out like that first value in the table, parentheses 1/2 is just 1 divided by 2, close parentheses. And then there's a power button here. And then I want the power to be -2. Sometimes if the power is complicated, it needs to be in parentheses, but -2 is not that complicated. Equals, and it says the answer is 4, which is what I calculated on paper by just remembering what a negative exponent meant and what it meant to square something. Let's test another one. 1 divided by 2 is 1/2, close parentheses on the base, and then raise that to the power, and let's try -1. And it says the result is 2. So that's the Google scientific calculator. It's a lot like the calculator on an Android or Apple phone. I recommend a scientific calculator, so this is Desmos, so I have this on my phone also. It's a great calculator, and pretty similar. I want to use parentheses. 1/2 would be 1 divided by 2. I could have used the fraction button instead. And then I want to arrow over and close the parentheses. And then I can use the power button. This one looks a little bit different, but that gives me a power. And then I can say I want the power to be -2. And then enter, and I get 4. So notice it works pretty similarly. Let's check it for another one. Parentheses, we could use the fraction button. Gives us the same result. On my phone, I have to use the arrows to move around. Close the parentheses, and then raise it to the power, and let's try -1. And then enter or equals is this little button right here. So again, it's important we learn how to use a calculator, and pretty much here I just type it as I see it. So here I was given parentheses 1/2 in the base, close parentheses, and then the power outside. So we just have to find the power button on our calculator, and we don't have to have it as a stacked fraction. Remember, the fraction bar means divide. So 1 divided by 2 is 1/2. All right, so now to plot these as points, I need to put a scale in here. So let's do that next. So let's say this is going to be 1 and 2 for x, -1 and -2 over here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. And so first I want to plot the point -2, 4. So on paper, I want to plot each of these. So -2, 4 is about there. -1, 2 is about here. 0, 1, x is 0, y is 1. X is 1, y is 1/2. So x is 1, y is 1/2. And then x is 2, y is 1/4 should be about there. So this function sweeps on down through here, kind of like that. Little arrow over there, not my best arrow, little arrow there. So there's my by hand sketch. To sketch this on our computer system, we just need to pick 2 of the points. And I usually pick 2 easy ones. So I would probably pick this point here and that point here. They're easier to plot than these fractional values there. So in the homework system, we would just enter our numbers here. 1 divided by 4. And I just used the slash on the keyboard for that. And I could use the fraction button here also. 1/2, oops, half, 0, 1, 1. Oops, let's see, I did something wrong here. I put these in the wrong order. This one was 4. This one was 2. And then I had the 1/2 and the 1/4. Again, important, we write stuff on paper, so I expect you to have a notebook filled with nice, neat writing like this to the best of your ability. And then for plotting points here, notice the tools I have here. I can do a line. I could do this shape right here called a quadratic, or I could do this one right here, which is the exponential. And it just, notice each of the 2 red points. To graph any of these, we just use 2 points. And I chose to use the points 0, 1. So click as best you can on 0, 1. Looks like I missed just a little bit. And then -1, 2 is the other point I'm aiming for. And if you think you missed, you can click back on the point and move it. So I'm just going to try and replace this. My mouse here. It's still a little bit off. So if you don't get it right the first time, just try again to place the point. If you think your points are right, well, it looks a little bit closer. So if my points are close enough, then when I submit it, I should get a green light. And it didn't think my points are close enough. So try that one again. Quadratic. So I'm trying for 0, 1. That looks a little better. Maybe I'll try for the -2, 4 this time. Do your best to put it in the right spot. And some of these graphs are easier to plot the points than others. This one is a little picky. Hey, I got it right that time. So it's just a matter of carefully plotting the points. If you don't get it right on your first try, try again. If you continually can't get the points in the right spot, make sure you message me to ask about it. All right, hope this was helpful.